Hi all, this is Fundamentals in 5 minutes, where I take a topic relevant to business owners and challenge myself to summarize it in 5 minutes or less. Today's video is all about cohort analysis, the foundational analysis technique for data-driven businesses. We will discuss what it is, how it works, and why it's important. And with that all said, let's get into it. Cohort analysis is a type of statistical analysis in which groups or cohorts are tracked through time to observe specific outcomes. The best way to think about cohort analysis is that it's a form of experimentation. To perform a cohort analysis, a company must first describe a hypothesis to test. Such a hypothesis might be that a new feature will reduce churn rate, for example. A company will then construct an experiment to monitor and test this hypothesis over time. And as part of this experimental design, a company will have to define its user groups or cohorts for the experimentation to run. They do this by defining a unique characteristic that will define their cohorts. The date users sign up would be a good example of this. A company will then run the experiment based on the groups that they've defined and then will work out when they churn over time. Finally, once the company has collected the data they need, they will then display it in a format similar to this chart. Now, at first glance, this may look complicated, but this in essence is what a cohort analysis really is. First of all, the rows display the customer cohorts from each time interval. What this describes is pretty simple. Any user that signs up to the app on January 25 fits into the first cohort. Any user that signs up on January 6 fits into the next cohort, and so on and so forth. And then each column represents the amount of time that has elapsed since the user subscribed. So what this chart is describing as we move across it is the number of days since the user has subscribed. This means that day 0 for the January 25 cohort is January 25 and day 1 is January 26. If you take the January 26 cohort, day 0 is January 26 and day 1 is January 27, etc, etc. Every cell then has a percentage, and what this percentage means will be context dependent to the experiment and the hypothesis being tested. In our example, the percentage represents the number of active users still using the product within the cohort. Now, what a company can do with this information is where the true magic happens. In our example, tracking across the chart gives insight into when the users are churning and in what proportion. As we can see, our chart is describing a huge drop between day 0 and day 1, indicating large amounts of churn. And as we run down the chart, we also see that this drop-off is consistent across all user cohorts, implying something big is causing users to churn within the first 24 hours of using this product. Knowing this information means this company now has a starting point to diagnose the potential problem, allowing them to be more precise in how they allocate resources to improve the problem. Now, while getting into the weeds of how companies can further leverage this analytics technique is outside of the scope of this video, the important takeaway is that this technique is the foundation for data-driven product, marketing, and customer success improvement efforts. Cohort analysis isn't simply the domain of software as a service or other digital companies either. A gym, for example, will have an attrition rate for both active use and churned membership. Thus, there are numerous use cases for a gym to apply cohort analysis to, and it should be an integral part of their marketing and product development processes. In summary, cohort analysis takes the guesswork out of where a company should be focusing its efforts to improve, and all companies can benefit from cohort analysis when applied to their specific needs. They are the simple yet powerful tool that puts real data into the hands of the company so that they can improve efficiently. And with that, we're all done. Cohort analysis summarized in under 5 minutes. It's been my absolute pleasure to take you through this content, and as always, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn and put any comments that you might have down below. Until next time, I'll catch you on the next video.